Tervetuloa taas uuden videon pariin. Tänään ollaankin Viikissä. Meillä on täällä vieraana Cleber. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me where we are now.
Yeah, we are here on the main hall of Gardenia. This used to be the place where the plants were growing, and soon is gonna be the place where the beer is flowing. Or the beer is actually flowing already in there. It's gonna be the place where the beer is fermenting.
Yeah.
So we are going to transform this here into our brewery. We did already the first phase of the project, which was kind of, well, if I include the engineering part, was a very painful phase, but now we just did the demolition. So we remove all the spots where the plants were growing and got this to the bare underfloor. I don't know even how to call this here, but the actual floor was about 1 meter higher than here where we are standing now. And now we're gonna just build a new, smooth, beautiful brewery floor here, all over this place. We have a bit, around 600 square meters in here. And then hopefully the morning will last and we're gonna put very nice tiles in here. And before the end of the year, we should have the brewery in here.
Yeah, when I first heard about this place that you might be interested or is a possibility for you, I was like, wow, that's going to be a really interesting move. And then when I heard that it's actually happening, I was like, yeah. And now when I came here to see it, I was like, it's so much nicer than I actually thought.
Yeah.
Like it's nice from outside, but there's so many nice rooms here and the plans I heard about this. I already said this to a lot of people, but it's going to be one of the most unique breweries in Europe, and it will be compared all over the world, I would say, because it's going to be something different.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that there's something so big and so different is happening here.
I don't really know very many breweries that have a cool spot like this. I mean, you have the guys that are in Sweden with the brewery inside the church.
Yeah.
And then this, well, warehouses and old brewery buildings and stuff, but glass walls, don't know many.
I have visited probably at least 100 brewery, and a couple of them are like in a really nice locations, but most of them are in, warehouses, and they make them nice inside, and that's nice as well. But like the starting point of this is so different than anything, so it's gonna be interesting. Today we are drinking with a Brazilian-born person, Brazilian beers, obviously. I found from one web shop some really interesting, highly rated, different kinds of beers from Brazil. And I've noticed that Brazil is more and more coming to Europe. First we had the European beers, then American beers, and then it was like, what next? A lot of people said that maybe like Asian beers, but more I have seen like South American beers coming here.
Which is very interesting, because I was also very sure that the next wave was going to come from Asia.
Yeah.
I would say like on the last 10 years, craft brewing really picked it up in there. And it's growing a lot. Like there's a lot of breweries in there. And very interesting market, very interesting environment there, like a lot of creativity. And when you look about at the stuff that comes from Brazil, there is a lot of interesting ingredients to use in beer also. So, they have a disadvantage though. Like when you think about this beer that you are going to offer to us here, and the position where they are, even though they are closer than us to the US, where most of the hyped hops come, they are kind of hard to get in there. They are very expensive, more expensive than actually in here.
Okay.
There's a lot of issues in importing, so it's hard for them to get hops of the same quality, fresh as fast as we do in here.
Okay.
So
you could think the other way around, but
I hope they will. Well, there were a lot of talks about growing hops in South America. I know that Argentina has been growing some stuff, Cascade at least, and maybe some other varieties. And I heard they were going to try something like that in Brazil, but well, most of Brazil is very hot, so it's not very suitable for hops.
Yeah.
Only the very south.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will get something new in there. It could be very interesting. Like you have American hops, you have Australian hops, you have South African hops.
Yeah.
South American hops will be cool.
There isn't really any reason why not, even though, of course, it has to be in the south to kind of compare the climate, but should be able to happen. And I was wondering and just asking about the hops because this is made with mosaic and citrus. So, of course, American hops, and I think all the hops here are American, of course.
Yeah.
So, no own hops yet, but hopefully it comes a thing. Because then you can have a whole different thing and, of course, cut down the cost and all these flavors that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
Now you can find Brazilian flavors in the adjuncts, but not in the hops yet, but hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
So the first beer we're having, I need you to pronounce this for me because I have no idea.
That is funny because actually the name of the brewery is Juan Caloto, which is actually Spanish. And the name of the beer is also in Spanish. Posso hacer isso el día todo. I can do that the whole day.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but it's a Brazilian brewery with a Spanish name and Spanish team, apparently.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know these guys. The first time I drink in their beer.
So yeah, it's a 7% New England IPA with a really good rating, and it looks beautiful.
It had a nice head. We've been chatting here, and the head has been dying. But
Yeah. It is actually, I like it.
Oh.
It is. There's some bitterness in the end. It's fresh. Tad sweet, but not like too much. Really clean. I can't find anything wrong with it.
No, I actually think it's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, I would easily drink a
Yeah.
few pints of this one here.
Yeah. I once earlier tried some Brazilian beers, and there were some really good ones, and then some that there was something wrong with them. I don't know, was it with the cans or was it what? But this is for a good start. I really enjoy it. So
Yeah.
and it's also here interesting to see always with new countries that does my taste bud correlate to the Untappd ratings, because with some countries it's way off and with some I'm like agreeing with them, and it's always interesting. And now it's like a new continent almost, so like a big part of the world I haven't been drinking, so it's nice to see. Is it like Russian style where you give a lot more than other countries would, or was it like Finland, so you don't never give any fives or something like that? But so far this was like 4.2, which is really high, and yeah.
So far, yeah, I guess.
So far, after 1 out of 6 beers, Brazilian hype is real, but let's see. Next up, we have UX Brew Python hops. This I can even pronounce because it's in English. Nice. It says a juicy double IPA, Mosaic, Citra, Galaxy, Idaho 7. And it has a nice snake on it. 8.4% juicy double IPA as told already.
Yep.
Color is again nice, a bit more turning to the red, but not much.
Yeah.
A bit of sediment coming
interesting.
as well.
Probably yeast.
Probably.
Mine is clearer.
Yeah. Less nose, but what I can get. Nice. Yksi huikka. Kaikki tietää säännöt.
I did like better the other one though. This is interesting. It's a very, very tiny bit of hop burn. That's probably very heavily hopped. And I don't know, I prefer the nose of the other one.
Yeah, it had more and a nicer nose. This is also quite a lot heavier. Of course, it's a double IPA, but there's a bit more than 1% difference, so not that much. It's nice and clean as well, but it's quite heavy and a bit, should I say, it is soft. I was about to say raw. Just some hop burn in the end, but other than that, it's quite round and soft and nothing wrong with it. But yeah, the previous was nicer, and Untappd agrees with us. They say that was nicer, so this is 4.15 in Untappd, so quite close to the other one. And now comparing the US beers with the similar rating, I'm saying this is like really, really close. I can't say which way it goes. I would say this have a bit worse rating for the same quality of beer so far. But we'll see with the rest of the beers. So far, really good actually, really good stuff. If I was about to go to Brazil to drink beers, is there a place I should go, or are there many places that I should go?
Well, at least the two main cities for sure. So, main because of the scenario and the scene, and because of the size of the city. So, São Paulo, my city, my hometown, has a very nice scene going on there. A lot of good breweries in there. A lot of very nice bars to go. And then Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro is very interesting because, well, the craft beer scene there grew based on support from home brewers. They actually managed to create a kind of a collaboration with home brewers and craft brewers collabing with them, giving stuff back to the community, like teaching courses, inviting, making competitions, just like Fat Lizard is doing in here, this kind of things. And it became very strong. There is also quite a lot of very good microbreweries in Rio de Janeiro, and in reality a number that is a bit surprising given the size of the city comparing to São Paulo, for example. Is about the same amount of craft breweries for a city that is about 1/3 of the size.
Okay. Yeah.
And like super good bars to go.
Yeah.
And like when you are in Rio de Janeiro, it's just like so much other stuff to do in there that is. Beer is just an extra, very strong plus.
Probably beer is cheaper than here, obviously, but what do you say compared to what would be the comparison?
Basically what is happening now is Brazil, the exchange rate in Brazil is very weak. Of course, if you get stuff like this that use hops from the US, there is a baseline of the price that is pushed by the ingredients. But then again, alcohol tax is not as high in there, labor is not as high, rental is not as high. So I would say if you get a local beer, you can get that for maybe 4 or 5 euros a pint. Yeah, in a nice bar.
Yeah. So now we can calculate how many beers you have to drink to make up for the plane tickets.
One thing that is very nice in Brazilian drinking culture, which I hope will eventually develop here in Finland also, is eating and drinking. Eating while drinking. Like people don't go to a bar only to eat in Brazil. Like you always go there only to drink. You always go there, you get a beer or two, and then you get a portion of some food to share with friends and stuff, and then you get more beer and then another food. And is an experience of eating nice things and drinking nice things. And it's something that is really missing in Brazil. Other in Europe, in Finland, other parts of Europe have it. Like if you think Spain, for example. Tapas, everyone knows tapas. But here in Finland, no. Like you go to a bar and there's just beer to drink, and most people are actually not interested. They're not even looking or ordering if there is food. So I hope that will change, and we will be part of that change.
We will try our best.
A pizza?
Yes, a pizza. And pizza here.
And pizza here, yeah.
Without the A.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really common in other countries, but for some reason in Finland it hasn't really gone through. I don't know if it's what places are offering as food. For me, for a lot of places it's that, or there's no food available. There are not many craft beer oriented places that there's actually something that I want to eat, even though I would like to eat. But I hope the change is coming and we go more even to the Russian side where you don't drink if you don't eat, which is like a basic rule of drinking. You have to eat when you drink, and I think that's nice.
It is very nice. As you know, Finland tried to implement, to force it some decades ago, and you all know about the stories about the sandwich that passes from customer to customer. That's not the kind of food culture that we want to build in here.
That was for the IPAs. I needed those American-style IPAs to kind of calibrate myself, because you probably know that I drink a lot of those, and I'm a big fan. And it passed that test, so now we're going to sours.
That's my side of the world.
Yep. And we have a brewery called Augustinus.
Yeah.
And a beer with pitaya, raspberry, and amora.
Yeah. Which is blackberry.
Blackberry, yes.
Carro-vatuka.
I poured a lot of this because, now we have a nice fruited sour, light and easy, but I noticed that it's 9.2%, so it's actually stronger than the ones we had.
No easy game today.
And the art you see on the can is a collaboration between a lot of Brazilian breweries where they took a part of this big art piece and put it on their labels for charity of some kind. 9.2%. Again, I get quite a lot of sediment here.
Yeah, this is also interesting. I actually met those guys in Brazil the last time I was there. In a bar, actually. I was drinking in a bar in São Paulo. And they were there, and we talk about beer and other stuff. I don't know if they have their own brewery nowadays, but at that time they were gypsies.
Yeah.
And I do know that the brewery where they make these beers, they centrifuge the beer. So it's interesting that there is sediment on the bottom like this.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try.
Cheers.
Nice and tart. 9.2 is quite well hidden. Wow. You can say it's more than 5%, but I wouldn't say 9 or anything.
Beautiful color.
Yeah.
Dark red. Can definitely taste the fruits in here, like vadelma, the framboesa, blackberry also. It gives this interesting earthiness to the beer. And pitaya is a Brazilian fruit from central Brazil, if I recall well. And to be honest, I haven't eaten that much, so I cannot pinpoint what is it.
Yeah, it's more berry forward, I would say. Even though I would hope more pitaya because it's quite new for us here.
Yeah.
You can see it sometimes, but quite rarely, unlike the other berries we have here.
Yeah, it is a nice beer. Like you say, like very sour. Most of the breweries in Brazil, they do kettle sour, so I was expecting this to be more on the sweet side than the sour, but I think it's very nice. Well balanced.
And ridiculously good, hiding the ABV. I can't I can't find anything. You could easily drink a couple of big pints of this in the summer and regret it afterward.
Those guys, I tried a lot of their beers when I was there in Brazil. They were at the time, at least, specializing in imperial stouts. They did a lot of stouts. Really good stuff, actually.
Yeah. Antep rating 4.19 again, just like previously. And usually if American beer is this, it's like more on the smoothie sour kind of, and this is not that kind of beer, but it's more like heavily fruited sour with not trying to get the berries as much there to make it more drinkable and like normal fruited sour. But yeah, it's intense and it's high on the ABV and really nice stuff.
I started to think that Brazil may be more like on the side of doing things like Russia.
Let's see. Let's take another sour and check it out. Next up, we have, what was it, Dádiva?
Dádiva is something that you give to a goddess, for example.
Okay.
Or you get from a goddess. I don't know.
Okay.
Something very special.
Mythological. This is a barrel-aged mixed fermentation cranberry sour, made in January 2021 or bottled, and it says something about Brett Bruxellensis Elambicus and cranberries.
Color looks more like traditional lambics.
Yeah. Ooh.
For a break.
Oh, this is a lot of berry, but nice complexity as well. But usually these kinds have maybe a bit less of the berries, but works really nice.
Yeah. Interesting aftertaste. It's like almost like tea or something like that.
Do you think if there's a lot of berry production in Brazil?
100% no.
Yeah.
They are importing all of this from somewhere.
Yeah.
No idea where.
So we had cranberries and we had black currants and we had raspberries.
Well, the blackberry, the one we have in Brazil, it grows in trees in there. It may be a different variety than the ones that they have in here. But the other stuff, no.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cranberries never saw in Brazil.
Yeah, I would have thought you would had only like local fruits because they're rare everywhere else. But it's interesting, and this is really nice. Quite light on the taste. It's not like too complex, you know. Sometimes beers are so complex that they almost give you a headache, but this is quite light actually.
Easy to drink. It's almost like actually, when you say light, I think it's a little bit almost shallow. Like, of course, it's alambic. It don't have body per se.
Yeah.
But you can kind of taste it. It's like if it's missing something to increase the body.
Yeah, but we are spoiled with real lambics over here so much that this kind of beer would never come from Trefontaine or Cantillon because it doesn't have enough body or flavor or like complexity. It's a really
but
easy drinking and nothing. It tastes good. The taste is good though.
Exactly. Tastes really good. Very easy drinking. Like I would not mind having a few bottles of this. It's super nice. It's a little bit of vinegar, which I think only contributes to the flavor.
Yeah, and it was a nice special bottle, so you would think maybe even more complexity. Yeah.
I met these guys actually also. Dádiva is probably one of the best, if not the best brewery in Brazil. They were on one of the last festivals that I've been able to go before Corona. I started the Billy's 2019 in Belgium. Very popular in there. People really knew their stuff and never drank any bad beer from those guys. It would be very interesting if they had made this with a Brazilian fruit instead.
Yeah, that would be so interesting.
Because this kind of flavors, it's just too easy to compare to Trefontaine, Cantillon, all those established breweries, and the flavors that they have got. Like if they had made this, for example, with cashew is not only the berry, but there is actually a fruit under it, and that fruit has a very interesting, intense flavor. This with cashew would be crazy. Victor, cashew.
And if you have already done it, next time ship those here and not the cranberry ones, because we can buy these here, but not those crazy things. So, Victor, you have a job to do now. Next, we're up with something very different. I have to cheat from here because this is an oak-aged, double dry-hopped American oat strong ale with coconut. So there's a lot going on in this one. 9.5%, rated 4.22, and this was, I had to get this because it sounded so different. The brewery is called Cuatro Graus.
4 degrees.
Yeah, and Dádiva is a collaboration brewery, so the one we have before. The label is a bit, I would never choose this.
Entomology. A guide to entomology. So is a guide to entomology is the word for study of beer.
Okay. So this is the introduction to beer.
I guess.
American,
But that is probably on the last page, like when you are already a specialist, you get this double oats strong ale or something.
That's for your second brew when you start to brew beers. The color is really light, almost IPA-like.
Crazy, yeah. I was expecting, like, when you describe it, to be something dark or reddish or very...
and strong ale. Again, I have some sediment, which is really weird, that it's a common thing with these. Not much, less than the other ones, but I still have.
Mine is completely clear. Oh, hazy, but no sediments.
The smell is a bit of old hops for me.
Boozy also.
You can say it's double dry hopped, and then it has seen some months. But because it's not an IPA, it should. Let's see, does it work?
Yeah. On the description tab, they say, well, drink some fresh to enjoy the hops and age a few to see how it develops in the can.
So we'll see. It's interestingly like a sweet, but then it cuts with a bit of, I don't know if that's bitterness or anything, but it cuts. At first it's like full on, like soft, but then not too complex, but really interesting.
To me, it's in your face coconut in this.
Oh, really?
Crazy, yeah.
First I didn't even taste coconut, and now I get it, but not too much for me. But maybe it's a different kind of coconut.
Yeah, I think it may not be roasted coconut, or if it's roasted, it's very lightly roasted, because like it was the first thing that just jumped to me in my palate. Crazy. And I can smell a little bit of it also. Yeah. Like this little sweetness is permeated with coconut.
Yeah, I was expecting something really complex, and it kind of has layers, but I wouldn't say it's a complex beer, you know? It starts with this full, round, sweet body, but then it cuts kind of this roughness. I don't know, can you say it's bitterness or what? But yeah, it's something I have never tried before, and that's always interesting. Probably not my favorite of the beers we've had so far. Would have been interesting to try really fresh if it was dry hop with some American stuff, as it was intended if you tried it fresh. But with this, I think the rating is higher than it would get here.
I think this beer, they may have gone a little bit too high on the ABV. That is kind of getting in my way of enjoying it. It's just to be boozy, but if it was a couple of percent less,
takes a lot away from the drinkability, because there's not that strong like hop flavors. I think coconut doesn't cover that much, you know, ABV. And 4.22 rating, they're almost all the same, by the way, like about 4.2.
I think the Brazilians don't know anything below 4.
Yeah, seems so far. If this beer was made in Finland, it would get 3.7 or something, I would say.
I don't get that much of the barrel.
Nope. Almost nothing. But this beer is a experience, and that's really good merit for a beer, because I drink a lot of beers that are not great or experiences, and if it ticks one of the boxes, then I'm happy.
Cheers to that.
And the last beer is here, and
Brewery Oca.
From Sao Paulo. Almost all of them. I don't know if all of them were from Sao Paulo.
Oca is an interesting name because it's basically a house. That's the name the Brazilian natives call their houses.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is a 10.5% barrel-aged imperial stout from coffee barrels. That's something that you don't see here.
Yep.
Maybe it helps to be a big coffee producer, so you can have coffee barrels. That's an interesting way to infuse coffee. Never had that before. It has also cocoa beans, and it has been matured with kumuru, which we found out is the plant that seeds you call tonka beans. So there should be some cinnamon flavor, chocolate flavor, and coffee flavor.
Some vanilla.
Yeah.
Ooh,
there's tonka.
Yes.
There's a lot
Crazy
of tonka.
amount of tonka.
This is rated 4.32, so
Coffee.
really high. Yksi huikka, kaikki tietää säännöt. It's dry, really dry. That was interesting for me. Is it sweet or dry? Dry.
Dry, bitter, coffee.
Really soft. Really, I like it. It's kind of like the bitterness is. It's not too bitter, but you can still feel it easily. Tonka is there, but it's not as overpowering as in the nose, I say. It's more balanced flavor.
Yeah.
I get coffee as well, which is nice, even though it doesn't have coffee, but the barrels. Coffee barrels would be an interesting way to infuse coffee for me.
I know that actually but it's a Finnish brewery that also has a roastery in one of these cities on the countryside, and are aging their coffee beans into bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
what are you planning to do with the
Yeah,
barrel after?
But I would say already, because of how Untapped works, this is 4.3 there. If this was anywhere else and it's such a dry stout, it would get way lower score, even though it's a really nice beer. But nowadays, the fact is that if you have a dry stout, it doesn't get really good ratings, unfortunately, because of course dry stouts can be really good.
Yeah, I do think that is a shame because I really love and we can make very interesting dry stouts. This one, I think they did overdo a bit on the adjuncts, especially on the coffee.
And even though after my rant of Untapped, I would still like a bit of sweetness in it. I don't need it to be really sweet, but I think a little bit more would make it more approachable and easy to drink. Tonka and coffee. And that's about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not a complex beer, it's really straightforward. I would never guess it's a barrel-aged beer, but then again, it's coffee barrel-aged, so usually I find vanilla notes from the bourbon or something, but of course that can't be expected here. It's not like super thick. It's, for 10.5, it's like fine totally, but it's not, I would not call this like a really thick, nice beer.
Yeah. Well, it's probably a good sipping beer for winter.
Yeah.
But it's a hard drinker.
Yeah. Big bottle. If you like dry stouts, you like this, and Tonka. But I think Tonka is really well here because Tonka is hard. Tonka, when you make it, usually some people get it over and then it's almost undrinkable for me. But this has really nice soft Tonka.
Yeah. I am on the opinion of using Tonka just sparingly. Like very, very tiny bit. Just a note of it.
Yeah.
More like it will give more of the vanilla notes than anything else.
Yeah. So we can say Brazilian hype is there. It's real. It's really nice. IPAs at least were my favorite from them. I would say the first one was probably my favorite of them all.
Yeah, I would like to see more beers with the local fruits. I know they make a lot of those in Brazil. For some reason, they are not coming to Europe.
Maybe they're afraid that new tastes people are afraid of, but make like fruity sours with local fruits, and I'm really interested because new flavors is the thing.
Exactly.
Thank you for watching.
Cheers.
Thank you, Cleber.
Saúde.
And
Thank you.
we see many times here, and you will see him as well here.
Obrigado.